Here in the annual catalog on page 58 is what we're going to be working with. It is the Potted Geranium bundle. It's the die and the stamp set. Now, this stamp set is amazing. It's not just the stamp, it's the dies that make it so special. Both of them combined because you can work with it in two different ways. I think maybe the reason that I haven't seen very much done with this is because it is a two-step layering stamp set, and it requires precision, I guess I should say. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that. I'm going to show you the dies, and then I'm going to show you something really cool, a new type of DSP. All right. I'm going to move this to the side, and here I'm going to show you. This is an example of a card that we can make with the potted geraniums. This was stamped with a lighter color, then stamped over it with the darker color. This too, the flowers were in a lighter, and then I stamped over with a darker to give it depth and detail. The same thing with a pot. You stamp light, and then you stamp with a darker one. That makes it have a 3D effect. But there's a different way you can do it too. I'm going to show you this stamp set. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. My gracious. When you're working with this set, isn't this so cool? Where they have now made the cases where you can just put your stamps right down on the case, and then you have the window sheet as a protective cover. This is the first one that you would do for the pot. I don't know if you can see it. Let me put it down here. Maybe you can see it there. You would use this one in a lighter color. And I used for this lighter color Sahara sand. For the darker color and the overlay, and this is what you would use right here, it would go right on top. And you see this darker part? Of course, this is turned in this direction. This is crumb cake. So crumb cake filled it in and gave it that shadowing effect. With the flowers, I stamped this first in Calypso Coral. Oh, no. This is not flowers. These are the leaves. I stamped this first with Pear Pizzazz. See, here are your leaves right here. Or maybe, yeah, it went like that. And then this is the overlay right here. I don't know how you can see it best, but anyway, this is the overlay, and it gives you the detail, and I stamped this in garden green. So you can see how this garden green has given it the detail of the veins in the flowers. Then for your flowers, I stamped first, yes, with this one right here. And I did in Calypso Coral. I then used, oh, I'm telling you wrong. I did this first. I did this with Pear Pizzazz because it happens to be, if you look very closely in here, you can see the little stems and the little greenery around the buds. That was this one. And it actually is supposed to be stamped first. And then I used this one for the flowers, and I used Poppy Red for that. Now, I was telling you Calypso Coral because in another version of this, I did use Calypso Coral, but that is not what I did here. And then this little tag stake is this piece right here, and you have all of these little words here, just for you, friend, smile, that fit right into that little opening right there. And I chose to put smile on it. So I thought that I would show you exactly how I went about making this um, with this piece of paper. And I'm going to pull in my stamp pads. Here's Sahara Sand and Crumb Cake, which is what we would do for the pot. So I'm going to get my stamp block here, and I'm going to put this right to the side here so you can, well, let's see, I'll put it right here so you can see it. I'm going to put this one, and it just does fit. So I'm going to use Sahara Sand, and I'm going to load the ink up, the stamp up with ink, press down, and there we have an impression of our pot. Now this pot, it comes out with little, it's not a perfect smooth finish because most clay pots don't have a smooth finish, and I'm assuming this is a clay pot. Now, I'm going to get, or I'm making it a clay pot, let's just say that. I'm then going to get this one, which is the overlay, that's going to give it the shadow and the depth. And it's Crumb Cake. You can see this color is Crumb Cake. It's a little bit darker. Now, the trick to this is that you've got to get it lined up. And because I don't want to get my head down in there, I'm hoping I'm getting it where it's supposed to be. Okay, there we go. Now, we have our pot that has depth and it has detail in it. So, we've gotten that done. Now, the next step is going to be the leaves. And what we will do first is we're going to use the Pear Pizzazz. And we're going to use this stamp right here. And it just has the basic shape and a little detail, not a lot. But there's the basic shape of the flowers. Now, what we need to do is to pull in our garden green. And we are going to take this detailed stamp right here. And then we're going to have to line it up as well. So, give me a minute. And it's hard to see because I have the camera in my way here, but I'm going to try. And I think I may be off a bit, but there we go. Now we have detail to our green leaves, and we have our stems up here. All right. So I'm cleaning this off. I'm cleaning it with a baby wipe. It's Kirkland's. It's the only type of baby wipe that I have found that does not leave fibers on the stamp and then getting the ink. So we have finished with this. We're now ready to do our flowers. And we're going to use Poppy Red. All right. So, but before we do that, we have got to do the Pear Pizzazz to do our stems right here. It's sort of hard to see, I know, but you'll be able to see it in just a minute. So, that's all the little greenery and stems. And then we're going to put the red flowers on. And I almost tried to pick up those leaves. They look so real. And then we're going to get this one. See, I'll do it this way. And ink that up. Now this one is the trick. I got to make sure. Okay. And it's okay. It will be fine though, because what is happening is you can see that, like in this flower, you see the 3 veins that run through it. And then here, there's a little bit of greenery underneath, a little bit underneath here. So we're going to say that's A-okay. And you have to practice with this set. I played with it all afternoon, and it took a while for me to figure out all the little ins and outs here, but it is amazing. Now, there is this little stamp right here, and I'll show it to you. I chose not to use it because I really couldn't see that it was benefited the picture any, but it is the dirt that would go right here. And I cannot put this here. You'd have to stamp it and then cut it out and put it over it. And I found my fingers just didn't want to fiddle with that very well. Okay, and I used a gray smoky slate for that, for the dirt. Okay, so we have all our bits and pieces here, and we can cut this out. So I used, for everything, I used this little mini cut and emboss machine. I love it so. It is perfect for your desktop. It does not require a lot of space, and sometimes you have to fiddle with it, but for the most part, it is an amazing little machine, and it's cute too. Okay, so here's the bottom plate, and it tells you right here, and you can see that I've gotten ink on it. I've used it so much. But these are the 2 plates that go on top. Now, it does have an embossing plate. This one right here, this is for the hinge first embossing folders. And this one, it says insert embossing folders, hinge first. This one, this is not a cutting surface, it says. And it shows you this is 4 and that's 3. Now, I've never used this one. It says to use this one with 3D folders, and this is the standard folders. That's why. Okay, so we're going to be using the first plate, number 1. We've got plate number 2. Actually, let's see. They're beginning to bow just a tad. I've used them so much. Okay, now the opening for this is 3 and I think 3.5. Get my trusty ruler out here. It has seen me through college and teaching, and now through this. 3 3/4 is the opening here. Now, so this is much too big. I can use my paper trimmer to make sure, and this is a wonderful tool too, and I'm going to cut it right down there. I'm going to slide it over, and let's see, how far did I go? 3, yeah, okay, I'm good. So I'm just going to clip right there, and I'm going to use my scissors, my paper trimmers that are amazing. They're the sharpest scissors I have ever used, and you can get it just, it's just perfect cuts. So anyway, we're going to do this one as well. And I'm going to get rid of this on the end because I can use that later. Okay, I'll put this to the side. Okay, so I'm going to slide this over. And now we're going to get this embossing folder going. I mean the machine going, cutting emboss machine going. We'll start out with the leaves. Now, dies. Here are your geranium dies. And they have, this is for another flower that would be go cascade over the pot. But what we're going to be doing right now, since we have stamped and we've already put the detail in there, we're going to use this outline right here. Now, this piece right here, it will not show up. It's just making sure that there's a cut here and a cut there. So I'm going to place this down, and I'm going to line it up, especially with the stem. And I'm going to get out my trusty surgical tape. Yep, surgical tape. It's paper tape, and it is strong, but it does not, oh my, I don't see the end, so let me see if I can find the end of this one. Here we go. And it does not peel or tear the paper when you take it off. Okay, so I'm going to slide that over, get that here, go up a little bit. Could fiddle with this forever. Okay, then I'm going to put this plate over it. Now, when you put your plate over it, it's best if you can to put this where it's not going straight in. It's at a die. This one doesn't really matter because it's got such a wonky shape. But if you had well, I got it backwards. If you had a square, a triangle, it's best to do it at an angle. And it's also best to sort of set your plates. I don't know if you can see here where it's not straight. It may be that I have a problem with it running up across the edge there, but if you sort of set it at an angle, it catches better and it'll run through easier, which is what I was not doing the first time I tried to show this to you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pull off my tape, and there we have our leaves. Pretty. I love this set. All right, I'm going to put, and then I put this on the edge of my table when I use it again. So I'm going to put this away. Now I'm using a magnetic sheet here. This magnetic sheet, it has adhesive on the bottom, and I just stick it to a piece of cardboard, thin, like a cereal box cardboard, or one that's a little thicker if you have it, and it works fantastic. Okay, so now what we need, and maybe we can do two at one time here. Let's see. Here, or three at one time. That is going to be for our pot. So I'm going to tape it across the corner like that. Then I'm going to pull out this one, which will be for the dirt, the soil in the pot. So I'm going to get a piece of tape I have over here on my work table. Or maybe I am. There we go. And tape that one down. And then I'm going to get this one. And I think that's the right thing. Nope, that's not the right one. I'm forgetting. I got to have it. It's got to be open. Where are you? Right here. This one. So I'm going to put this one. So I've got to turn it over. Right there. And we'll need to get a piece of tape right here. We'll tape this down. And now we're going to run this through. And we're going to have all three of them at one time. All right. So here we go. And sometimes that cracking it's sort of bothersome and scary, but really it's just the nature of the beast here. All right. We'll pull out the dirt and get rid of that. I'll put this back over here. And it just, everything just fits just so. And then we'll pull out our pot. So we have pot and dirt and green leaves. And now we're going to have our flowers that go up there like that. Now, the one thing that I did not do, and I believe that we can do that right now, is to get our stake. So we need to stamp that and then cut it. We'll put all this back in here because I do not want to lose it. And let me get my stamp set back out. It's right here. And here's the stamp right there. And I'm going to put the dirt away. Of course, you can use a smaller block, but this happens to be the one I have right now. So we'll slide this over. I'm going to, you know what? I think I can get it right on this paper here and save from using a big whole sheet and wasting it. Okay, I'm going to use black for this. So, we'll ink it up and stamp it down. Now, this has that sort of textured appearance around there. That's not something that I did wrong or that something's wrong with the stamp. That's just the way it's made. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to get a little something to say on there. Let's see, just for you. I think that's what that says. Well, yes, it does. Let's get a small one. Put this right here. Well, all right, now let's put, I have to line this up. Just for you. Very good. Now, we're going to cut it out. With this die, and I'm going to line up the stake and then the top of it, because if the stake is right, chances are the rest of it will be. I'm looking for a piece of tape that I've already used there so I don't have to lift my finger up. Okay, now let's take this. We're going to put this right here. Now this might be one where it would benefit us, and I'm going to cut off this little piece right here to put that sort of cattywampus. All right, let's see if it'll catch. There we go. See, my plates are all messed up. There we go. Okay. All right. Now I put this mat down because it doesn't slip and slide if you do it on this mat. And also, this mat, you can use adhesive on it. It's a silicone mat that it repels the adhesive, the glue. And there we have our steak. Okay, we've got all of our parts and pieces ready here. So we can now put together this card. Now, this is so amazing. I'm so excited about sharing this with you. And you probably have seen it. And if so, that's great. But you'll know how awesome it is because you're seeing it in action. Okay. You know, when you get your mail and you're opening all of those bills and that stuff from the insurance company and from flyers and all that kind of stuff, the inside of your envelopes, discover, the inside of your envelopes have patterns. This is a light gray. Here's another one that's got sort of a greenish cast to it. And I left it in envelope form because I wanted you to see how it's just been opened up. And on the inside, there you have all of these different designs. I've got my husband now saving these for me. Every time he opens up an envelope, he checks to see if there's designs on the inside of it. Look at this. There's so many. Who knew? I never realized. I never took the time to look at it. Look at that. That looks like weathered cement. And now we have blue. Look how gorgeous this blue color is. I bet. Now that's the state of North Carolina. You can make some really cool cards for people who know where you're from. Look at this pattern. Look at the medallion. And this one. And then, yeah, just plain. It looks like a paper bag, but it also looks sort of like your the brown cardstock for weathered board and things such as that. This is just amazing. So I decided to show you how amazing by using it as the backing to our card front. Isn't that lovely? I think that card is just stunning. And this was done with a security envelope inside. So don't throw them away. Check them. Look at them. See what you got. All right. So the one that I chose, I guess is the same one. Here it is in this envelope. Right here. And I was going to cut it and show you. We're going to need this to be, let me get my parts and pieces here. Slide them up here because I don't want to lose them. All right. Ooh, gosh, that hurt my ears. All right. So this DSP, this envelope DSP is what I call it, is 3 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and cut right here because there's a crease and I'm going to have to cut down the center anyway. And I'm going to get a straight edge there. And I'm going to get the white off here. Now, there's a lot of it you can't use. That's true. But then there's a lot of it you can use. So let's see if we've got 3 3/4. Yes. Look at that. We just did have it. Now, this you can save to use like a window sheet. When I was doing the hippos, I put this behind the goggles so it would look like he had the plastic in the goggles. Now, we got it 3 3/4 inches. We got to do it 5. And here we go. A beautiful piece of DSP. Who would have known? You don't tell anybody and they would never know it. But I think it's so amazing that everybody should know about it. All right, so I'm going to pull in my card. This is my card base. Now, before we glue this down, yes, I was thinking, I am going to show, we're going to put this one together. Yes, we are. And then I'll show you the other one. So we're going to put down some red. We're going to do this one just a tad different. And get out my glue runner. Don't tell me. Yep, I'm out. Alrighty. I'll use this one. I've got a refill, but I've got to figure out how to put it in. I've not done that recently because I've been using glue. All right, so now I'm going to put this down and I'm going to center it. Then, well, I've run out of this one. All right, let's try this one. If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's my motto. Now this paper is thin, so you have to be careful not to let it bend and get out of shape. Okay, I'm going to put this down like that. Okay, now it's time to start putting these pieces down. So I'm going to get my glue. I'm going to need my glue for this. Bring in my multi-purpose glue. Well, I haven't used this one yet. And I've got to take this little strip off. All right. So now we're ready. I like to use, this has a big thick end for like really smearing it well. But this is the end I use the majority of the time. Let's see, this goes on. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this pot and I am going to just glue it on the sides. I don't want to glue in the middle because that's where I'm going to put the stem and then I'm going to put the stake. Oop, wait. We're not there yet. Okay, put this to the side. This was cut. I'm getting ahead of myself here. All right, wait a minute. We're going to put this down. We're going to make this red really stand out. I'm going rogue, as Brandy Cox says. I had planned to do it one way, and now I'm doing it a different way. And I'm getting my wires crossed in my head. Okay, now, this piece right here, this outer piece, was the 5 1/4 by 4. 5 1/4 by 4 and 1/4 by 4, because this white card is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. This was 5 1/4, the red one, 5 1/4 by 4. So this one went down a notch to 3 3/4 by 5. This one is 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. And then we needed the white piece that is going to be where we build our flower. And I used the stitched rectangle dies. And I wanted to show you those. I've put these on magnetic sheets. And these come in all these different sizes. They're layering. These are long and narrow, and that's more squatty, a rectangle. But I use this one, I think. It's the fourth from the inside. Is that one I used? Nope, that's a little bit smaller. I used the next one. The fifth one from the inside, or the fourth one from the outside. Okay. So it has this pretty little stitched effect along the edges. So we're going to build this before I glue it down, because if we have any mishaps, then we could redo it. So I'm going to put this near the bottom, down here, and even. And I know I've got it glued on the side, but not in the middle. Then I'm going to get my greenery and slide that in like that. So I'm going to put glue on it. Gracious. I'll show you in a minute how I can just wipe that glue right up. Okay. See how that just wiped right up? All right, so here we go. And I'm going to sort of try to space that, not sort of try, but I will space it here and here the same distance. And it overlaps a little. And you notice I didn't even think about putting the dirt in there. But that dirt would have gone right in there, like that. And frankly, I don't see that it really adds that much to it, so I'm taking it out. I like it better that way. All right, now we've got our red flowers. And this goes like that. Okay. There. Now our stake is going to go down in the middle like that. And I'm going to put just a tad of glue right here and glue that down. So now we have the front to our card. Now there's one last thing. We're going to tie a bow. It's Stampin' Up's black gingham ribbon. And I cut about 9 inches. And that's a little more than I should need, but enough for me to play with to get it the right size. My hands are sticky. Okay, let's pull this down. Okay. I don't want it to be too big because it will look like it overwhelms the pot. Okay, I think that this will do. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to use my scissors. And I am going to hold that taut because otherwise it will not cut very straight. Okay, and for this, we're going to use a glue dot. This is the mini glue dot. And I'm going to use my pick it up tool right here. And this has the pointed end. I'm going to turn that around. And I'm just going to scoop that off. And then I'm going to stick this down right here. Let's see which side is the best. This one I think is better. And I'm going to stick this bow to it right there. All right, so now we do have our card front all fixed and ready to go. So I'm going to use my glue since I've got the bow on it. And I don't want to squish it. since it took me a minute to fix it. Bring this back in. And here we go. Guys, isn't that beautiful? Now, here's the difference. I think this is lovely. I do. But that really pops. So this one says smile, and this one says just for you. Okay, there is a different way that this can be done. And I didn't intend to do that other one the way I did, so now I don't have my poppy red, and I need to cut another piece of this beautiful DSP, but that's not going to be a problem because I have it right here. So it needs to be 3 3/4. I'm going to get these edges off. Go in. Didn't get it quite off. Okay. Take this off. And it seems, and I'm not sure why, on every one of these envelopes, there's that darker spot right there. Don't know why. So we need to make this 5 by 3 3/4. And here is our beautiful DSP. Okay, so if you will, let me get this out of the way. Bear with me. I'm going to get some red DSP. It's just around the corner here. And it's poppy red. Right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the poppy red that we need, which will take just a jiffy. So I'm going to do 5 1/4 by 4. And then I'm going to do 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. Okay, we have that. So, red, very good. Now, we're going to need to do a stitched rectangle piece. And this is great because I get to show you this in action. When I told you it was 1, 2, 3, 4 from the outside. So I'm going to pick this one up. Now, this paper can't be more than 3 3/4 wide. So I'm going to cut it down. I'll do this 3 1/2. Okay. And I'm going to bring back in my little cut and emboss machine. You can see how it really gets a workout in my craft room. And I'm going to put this die down. Now this would be one of those cases where you would want to turn it just a little so it will catch when it's rolled through. But it still needs to be on the paper. Alrighty, let's get this right. Okay. There. All right. And here we have our stitched rectangle piece. All the pieces that we need to put together this card. Now this card's a little different. And that's why I'm so intent upon getting this, showing you this. And even though I went rogue with the other one, I don't want to with this one. Okay, I have my card base. It's 5.5 by 11.5 and is scored at 4 1/4 and folded. And I creased it with my bone folder. Okay, so then I have this outer red piece just like before, and it is the 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use my glue. Well, no, I'm not. I'm using this adhesive. I will be using glue in a minute. And as you can see, I'm very liberal with my adhesive because I want to make sure that it sticks and stays. All right, so I am putting this down. The next thing we're going to do is put down our DSP. And I'm trying real hard not to cause any kind of bends or tears. And I'm going to put this down where it is evenly spaced all around. All right, and then this piece will go down the 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. By the way, if you like what we're doing tonight, what I'm doing and showing you, could you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you'll know when I'll be doing more things. All right, here we go. This piece is going to go right here, but before we do that, we're going to work on it. Now, what I did here is I just die cut the pieces, and it gives you this option. I'm going to bring all these in so I can show you where the stamps, where did I put that stamp set? Here it is. No, it's the die set that we're working with here. Okay, so instead of using these intricate pieces, he gives you the outline shape. And here, this one is for the leaves, for the back, the light color, and that I use for pear pizzazz, which is right there. Okay, then the detail and the stems was this piece, and I used the garden green for that, except it went this way. Garden green for that. For the flowers, it was this piece, and I used a coral, the Calypso coral. Now, I was supposed to cut and did not. This piece actually should be the stems and greenery in there, but I used it as shadowing. So I guess we can do that and see what it turns out like. And then this piece is the pot, and I just stamped. I used a Sahara sand, and I just stamped a crumb cake on it to give it some definition. All right, so let's see what kind of card this makes. I've not done a card like this before, so this one in particular. So we're going to start out by putting our pot down. Come on, glue. It dries quickly and it clogs up the opening, so I've got to get a pen. Come on, glue. Here we go. It'll come out like crazy. And then I'll have a mess. Okay, I'm going to put this down here, the center, just like before. And I did not put glue in the middle here because I'm going to be sticking the stems in. But before I stick the stems in, I'm going to take this piece, this light green piece, which is the pear pizzazz, and I am going to, nope, that's not right either. I got to figure out there, like that. So I'm going to glue that down to the pear pizzazz. Come on, glue. Here we go. It just doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, guys, I'm going to bring in my tried and true art glitter glue. It's got a fine tip point. And it also will do that. It will clog up. But if you keep the pin in it right after you use it, it will not. It will not clog up. And if it does, then you can just run the pin back and forth in it over and over until it becomes unclogged. So I'm going to put this down like that. So instead of ink, we've used our paper to create this definition. I'm going to stick this down into my pot. And I'm going to put it down like that. Then I'm going to take this piece, which is all the flowers, and I'm going to put it down there we go, like that. Now, this is the piece that I used in this to create the definition. It could have been, you could have done it with green if you chose to, but I decided that I wanted to try it this way. And like I said, I hadn't done this one before. There we go. All right, so now we need to put this in. Now this one is just the same as what we did before. There's no difference in this. I just put a different sentiment on it just for you. And then I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Up ribbon and get about 9 inches. Put this to the side and put my pin back in my glue and put the lid on that one. Now I'm going to tie a bow. My fingers are so sticky with glue. I hope this is not going to be one of those times when I can't get a bow tied. Oh, there it comes. Alrighty. Now, we're going to have to make it smaller. I think that's going to work. So I'm going to hold this and cut that. All right, now another mini dot. Oops, not in there. Here it is. And I'm going to get my pick it up tool, and I'm going to pick this right up. And I'm going to put it right down here. Another way to do it is put it on the back of your, I think that's the prettier side. Put it on your glue dot itself. And then just make sure you don't get it where it doesn't belong. And then stick it right down. Now that side looks a little long, so I'm going to cut it a little bit. And I'll cut that one. Oh, got just a little long there. Okay. And still, that is too long. It's things like this that will drive me crazy. All right. Now, we've got our bow. And now we're ready to put this onto our card. Look at that. We'll use glue. It seems like the glue is drying so fast tonight. And I even turned my fan off, so my ceiling fan, so that wouldn't happen. Okay, man, I do like this one. And there we have another gorgeous card. Let's look at them. We have this one that was made with the die cuts, the dies entirely. Then this one that is made stamping. So you have to decide which one you like best. I like them both. I think they're both really pretty. And then this was the one I did earlier today. So 3 cards, 2 cards tonight, 2 different ways. And you learn lots of tips and tricks along the way. I'm going to lift you up. And I want to say thank you for being with me. I had a great time. I was so excited about the stamps and die set, and also about the paper. I think it is so amazing what you can do with the inside of envelopes. Who knew? So make sure that you check them out. Get your husband to check them out, or your significant other, and make sure that you save those and use them. They're a great resource to you. I believe in finding ways to make things happen in sometimes unorthodox ways. So, thank you. Please give me a thumbs up if you like what you saw, and subscribe and follow my channel. That way you'll know whenever I'm going to do another video. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and until I see you again next week, dream and create. Bye-bye.